Heard you're getting married.
Oh no.
Heard you're getting married.
Is this what we doing?
This time it's really true. But maybe it's the best thing. Maybe it's the best thing for you.
This is not what I.
But congratulations on getting
It
engaged.
wasn't that bad. That's what I'm surprised about. Listen to your pipes, John.
You know, I'm not just a handsome face on a gaming podcast. I've also got a smooth
That's
honeyed
up for
potion of a voice. But no, congratulations. I want to kick this off with a huge congratulations to my boy Derek for getting engaged. Dude, I could not be happier for you or Martha.
Thank you.
I think I speak for all of us.
We've been together 9 years, so it's really more of a why did you wait that fucking long? We've been together longer than many people get married and get divorced. So
that is true.
Yeah. No, dude, this is fantastic. There's finally some good food in 2020.
It happened 2 weeks ago, and I told almost nobody. So
yeah, like I knew, and you know, like I. But there is a lot to celebrate tonight. Not just Derek's engagement, but also look at this. We have a new member of our podcast. We have officially recruited Brittany. And you know what's weird about this is that I know how it looks on the stream, but for me it looks like Derek pointed to me.
Yeah, it looked like that in here.
And I'm like, wait, hold on a minute, Derek, I'm not new. Like
I definitely pointed at her.
No.
There's nothing over there on my screen.
You pointed to me on my
It
screen.
definitely does also say Alien Isolation. See, I always miss something.
That's fine. I mean, but the beautiful thing about this is we can change it midstream. But Brittany is the newest member of SDGC, a permanent member. You're stuck with her. She's stuck with us.
That's exactly right.
Brittany, is there anything you want to say to our dozens and dozens of listeners?
Yes. Thank you to everybody who has liked what I've had to say, because I had some impact, obviously. And thank you to you guys for just consistently being on air and talking about video games, because I think you have a great and wonderful community. And I think that's really held a lot of people together over this last year. So it's awesome to be a part of that. And I hope that I can make people smile like you guys do.
You make me smile.
I mean, do you have any more praise you want to heap on us? Because I'll take it.
He doesn't need it. Let's move on.
We have just keep going.
We also have
we also have. Yeah, please, Derek. No.
I was saying. We also have, we're tripping over ourselves, right? All the professionalism. We also have a fantastic guest with us tonight. CJ Salcedo, right?
Yeah, you got it actually.
Yeah, from Waypoint Set. Which is a fantastic, currently on hiatus, maybe not for much longer, things in the works, but fantastic little leftist gaming podcast that many of us have actually guest appeared on. CJ, what's going on, man?
Oh man, I'm doing great. I'm honored. This is I don't know, the same way John talks about being on Kind of Funny, it's the same way I'm feeling. You know, I likened it to hosting SNL.
Yeah,
in the amateur podcast world, this is it.
We don't deserve that.
No,
I appreciate it.
This is. I mean, no, you guys are putting out much better stuff than anything on SNL in the past few years. But I
Oh well, hey,
that's not a high bar.
That's true.
But yeah, I'm great. I'm in a good mood.
All right,
and I got to tell you, Derek, I was on Waypoint. You were on Waypoint Set.
Yeah.
I was on Waypoint Set. One of my favorite podcasting experiences of 2020. So
come on.
Whenever Waypoint Set comes back, everybody here really needs to go check out what CJ is doing.
I've had 4 of you on so far. Like I've collected you guys like Pokemon.
You want to make it 5?
Yeah. Oh, for sure.
Next you got to have Brittany.
Yeah.
All right, so yeah, no, there's and you know, of course, we missed last week due to us standing in solidarity with Black Lives Matter, and so there's a lot to talk about. There's some news we missed last week. I think first, a couple of us wanted to talk
one
about.
more piece of
course.
housekeeping.
Derek, yes, of course.
So our good friends at But Why Though are running a fundraiser for St. Jude Children's Research Hospital. So I have a nice little Nightbot command. It says !donate, and it pops up the link so you can donate to that if you so feel. I'm going to be, once that is over with, we're going to be cycling like fundraisers and charities in and out of that donate link. So we'll always have kind of something that we can point you to if you're feeling in a charitable mood and you happen to have the money to put into the world, which I know is not an easy ask in 2020. So that's not a guilt thing. It's more like a, hey, here's what you can do if you have the resources. So
exactly. No, very well put, Derek. Derek, you remember this shit. You think of this shit, and I don't. And
I try.
And that's why we love you, man. That's why we love you.
That's right. He says
there were
while
a couple
taking
of
a
us.
sip.
of my ginger highball.
I know. Yeah. Exactly. There were a couple of us who wanted to talk real quick about a couple of the things we've been playing, and I wanted to kick it over to Brittany first.
Oh, absolutely.
As our new member.
All right, we're doing this. We're talking about the game that thirsty gamers have been posting about all over social media, and it is called Hades. I don't know if you've heard of it. It's a little game called Hades. John, have you played Hades?
I have it on my Switch. I have not played it yet simply because I'm not in the right mindset for a roguelike right now.
Listen. Maybe I can change your mind. Look.
Okay. Well,
all right. Let's start.
I've been playing it too. I've been playing it too. It's awesome.
I'm gonna do a small little segment called Brits by Bit, where I'm going to talk about the hotness that is the Hades characters. Let's start with Nyx, all right?
Great.
She is really fucking hot. And she's got stars in her hair. So that's something.
This game is a bisexual disaster, honestly.
Hades himself, all right? He's just a big boy and he's dressed nice. So like there's nothing. This one's my favorite because we got pink.
Oh wow!
And titties. This is Aphrodite.
That has to be.
Well, that makes sense.
I was going to say that has to be Aphrodite.
Afro titty, if you know what I'm saying. All right. This one is Ares, also known as the god of war. Everybody.
Oh, Ares getting topped. Ares is getting topped.
He's getting real top. He's getting lots. He's getting tops. He's getting it all. The god of war is black. We're doing that. All right. And then we got Meg, who needs that Disney princess Meg? We don't need her. And last but not least, we have the main character, Zagreus. And he
getting top too.
That's the one everybody's thirsty over, right?
Everybody can get
Everybody's thirsty over
it's like
everyone.
In fucking Parks and Rec. Literally everybody in that game can get it. So
I'm so glad I'm not the only one bringing the loud gay energy anymore.
Thank you. Hotness aside, the music is fucking phenomenal. The gameplay is endlessly fun. Even when you die, it doesn't piss you off because you want to go back, you want to talk to the NPCs, you want to give them some shit so they give you some shit. It's just a wonderful fucking game. Justin, what do you have to add to that?
Yeah, so I've also been playing Hades. I've never really been a fan of roguelikes. I usually play them a little tiny bit because I like the gameplay, and then I fall off very quickly. Hades solves like every single problem that I have with the genre. The way it ties in mythology, the story and characterization is legitimately good. And it's like a really neat twist on some of these myths and characters. Not only are they kind of non-conventional in some of the designs that they have, but they kind of take some liberties and mix up how they interact with one another, which is really, really cool. There's like a kind of like a BioWare-esque like relationship system with people where you can like get to know them, they'll help you out. So there's like a lot of stuff that is like permanently building. So like the whole idea is that you're trying to escape from Hades and that it's difficult and you will get sent back.
It's so fucking difficult. Hades.
But it's
a roguelike, so I mean, that's to be expected.
So, but like they managed to contextualize and explain everything in a way that feels so much less frustrating than other games in the genre. I've been having a blast with it. I have not gotten into one of these types of games in a long time. And
I've never.
I'm a big fan of Supergiant. So I was a little bit like, they're doing a roguelike, but this game is phenomenal.
I think the real question is, does Zagreus run around yelling Zeus?
No, he runs around yelling Hades.
Hades.
Okay, but it's the same concept, right? Like he's basically reverse Kratos. He's handsomer. He's
actually pretty chill. He's actually pretty chill.
Well,
like,
I don't, but that's what I mean. Like he's reverse Kratos, right?
Yeah.
Like he's chill. You know, he's he's young and attractive. You know, like I have never seen thirst for a video game character on my timeline like I have over Zagreus. Like there are entire articles written about it.
He's not just
It
hot,
blows
he's
my
fucking
mind.
charming, he's funny.
He's
like
got that
he just-
BDE.
yeah, he's he got that BDE for sure. And it's a $20, what, $25
$25,
game.
I think.
Yeah, I got it on sale when it was 20, and it feels like a game that should have been $60. It's that good. Like I can't believe it. I only got it for 20.
I will jump into it at some point. There's so much on my
Just
plate
like
right
you're gonna
now
watch
with,
Tangled at some point.
I'm gonna watch Tangled.
No, he's not, because he asked me for a bunch of different
weekend.
anime to watch, and he hasn't watched a single one of them.
Okay, I'm gonna watch Tangled. Eric,
Yeah.
I'm gonna watch Tangled this weekend. That's a promise, and I will actually take a picture of the television screen, so you know I'm watching it, and I will tweet it out.
We'll start some
I'm gonna do
anime when
this.
you come over for Extra Life. We'll make it happen finally.
Okay, I'm down with that. Hey,
See,
I watched
Princess Mononoke.
I watched,
it's the one
how-
anime.
yeah.
That and Hyperdimension Neptunia.
Okay, I didn't watch that so much as I did experience it and become uncomfortable with it. So yeah, but we do have a lot to talk about. And so we're gonna kind of bypass the rest of what we've been playing right now because
Can I just briefly talk about the other thing I've been playing real quick?
It's
No,
real
absolutely
bad,
not.
so he's gotta. It's real
I
bad.
know that's fine. No, please, I'm kidding. Please, I want to hear this.
I started up Resident Evil 6 this week.
And done.
And
we all know now.
I'm gonna have to record like a full review of this game. I cannot say everything I want to
come
say
with you. I want to do
about this game in like the short amount of time that I have.
On this earth.
It is the design document for Resident Evil 6 was just a giant bowl of cocaine. There is like this is a series known for some dumb shit, and Resident Evil 6 cranks it all up to 11 from the tutorial. Like,
Justin, I have to ask, what did you think of the mini game to find those keys in the car and
oh
get
my
the
god,
car
the
started
keys!
in Leon's
The
campaign?
Leon looking for keys and driving a car. QT. Nobody can drive in this game. Every time somebody gets in a vehicle, that thing is crashing in the most fiery manner. Okay, so Resident Evil 6...
State Farm is bankrupt in the Resident Evil universe. Just.
Resident Evil 6 is a game that makes no sense, and I cannot wait to talk about it more, because even though it is a very, very bad game, I'm enjoying it so much.
It's charmingly bad. It's bad, but you can't stop playing it.
So usually, like, if I play bad games and I'm the one that's actually like playing them, I can't like laugh at it. I have to be watching like a video of somebody. I have been in tears laughing at some of the shit in Resident Evil 6. Like, I have been cracking up, full on belly laughing alone in my apartment. Like, while playing this game. And like, keep in mind, I'm a huge Resident Evil fan. I like action Resident Evil. This is not like me being like, oh, this is, well, granted, this isn't what Resident Evil should be, but like, they just lost the plot entirely with Resident Evil 6. And I'm also very glad I played it now after we've had one great new numbered installment in the series, two very good remakes, and then another very promising looking installment of the main franchise coming up.
My favorite part of Resident Evil 6 was when I spent 20 minutes with Leon just spamming nice. Nice. Nice.
It's all about that dodge roll.
nice.
Just dodge rolling
yeah.
everywhere. Me and
But like his-
Lena played that together on co-op, and it was just constantly leaping. And, get down, Mr. President! Get down, Mr. President! Get down, Mr. President! Just constant, the whole level. It was
The only
bad.
satisfaction I got out of Resident Evil 6 was confirmation that Wesker fucks.
Well, we didn't
Wesker-
need.
Yeah, I mean, we didn't need confirmation of that. But
I mean, the
like-
glasses said it all.
I mean,
What does that
Wesker. I mean,
I
Wesker,
Those are
had-
his fucking
Wesker-
glasses.
Those are his fucking glasses. Those are when Wesker takes his glasses off. You don't know when, but you know something or someone is getting fucked when those glasses come off. Like, I mean, that's like Wesker's tell right there. He's ready. He's ready to get out. In 7 minutes.
He is gonna
7
wine
minutes
and
or less.
dine
That's
you
all he has.
in no time flat.
7
Total
seconds,
charm.
or 7 minutes. 7 minutes is all I have for this date. Like,
Yeah, but then he got into
that's-
that weird pickup artist shit, and we had to cancel Wesker. So, with a
Yeah,
rocket launcher,
unfortunately. With the rocket launcher, and yeah,
well,
there was
also
whole-
with a volcano.
that too.
yeah, but let's not forget that rocket launcher actually decapitated him So,
in a
like-
volcano.
yeah, I'm not gonna lie.
Maybe this
that's a pretty-
franchise is just dumb, y'all.
That's a pretty.
Oh no, it's always been
Maybe
dumb,
the
but
reason
not
why
in the
they
same way that
completely
6
rebooted
is.
the series with 7.
Oh,
That is a pretty badass way to die. Getting decapitated by a rocket launcher while you're waist deep in magma is a pretty fucking awesome way to go. Like, if I had to choose how I left this earth, it would probably be that.
I mean, I was
I'm
gonna
not
say
gonna
in my
fucking lie.
sleep, but whatever, sure.
Well, I mean, yeah, that's fine. But
I think we have
you know
news.
me, Derek. I'm a man.
Yeah,
Derek,
we do
I'm
have
a man
We
of
have
news.
action.
news. We
Yeah.
do have lots of news.
Do we have news, Derek? Do you want to kick our news off?
I sure
Do you want to
fucking do.
kick our?
So we kind of
Kick
missed
our
this
news
last
off.
week because we didn't have a show, so we didn't have a chance to talk about it. But this technically happened last week. And in a way, I'm actually happy for this because it's given us a little time to have some cooler heads maybe over this discussion. But Microsoft purchased Bethesda. They purchased Zenimax, technically the parent company of Bethesda. I don't remember the total amount. Does anybody?
7.5 billion.
7.5 billion.
It's a big old number. It's a lot of zeros. How many zeros?
Just
I have
a
to
little,
think about it.
just a little more than they almost purchased the Silent Hill franchise with, if we remember.
Oh, I'm sorry. Sam does have a small correction to the price. It was 7.5 billion in cash.
Right, which is a big deal. That means they straight up.
How many
paid-
suitcases do you think that was?
Did they just have dump trucks of
I don't
cash
think it
being
was
driven up
physical
I-95?
dollars, but it means that an actual transaction was made. It wasn't like 7.5 billion with X amount of that being in terms of like
Financed,
stock
yeah.
buyouts and like liquidated
No.
assets. It's
I've got
I'm just
this
thinking
metal
of.
picture- No, please, CJ, go ahead, man.
I was like thinking of like Phil Spencer walking with 2 suitcases to like Pete Hines' house, and he's like, "All right, let's."
No,
let's
he drops them and they just
discussion.
break the concrete. Like,
I was gonna say something similar. Like, I have this metal picture of Phil Spencer and Pete Hines like meeting in a hotel room, like White Goodman and the main character from Dodgeball in that one hotel room. Have you ever seen $7.5 billion? I assure you, except in the movies, I assure you something's lost in the translation. Like, I've got this picture of like a back alley shady deal. Like, it's so good. But I mean, this is fucking huge though. Like, this is the biggest news of the year because it changes so much of a huge part of the industry going forward in several ways. And I wanted to see what you guys thought about the first one. We'll get into the potential of huge franchises like Elder Scrolls being exclusive. But what I think this is going to do is kick off a massive arms race, basically, between PlayStation and Xbox in snatching up major developers and major publishers. Because there are already rumors that they're looking at oh god, what's the other one that they're rumored to be looking at right now?
the only other halfway
Shit.
major publisher that I remember was even in that position is Warner Brothers has been on and off, right? About
Yeah.
selling off.
Warner
their games
Brothers is
division.
officially not being sold right now.
Yeah, like
for
they're
the time
not.
being.
They were kind of looking into it before, maybe, but they're officially not at the moment. I don't know. See, we talk about like an arms race of buying up publishers, but I don't think there's any other publisher like Zenimax's size or larger.
Derek, we're being rated. We're being rated.
Yes. I'm trying to be podcast friendly.
Sorry.
It's okay. But like I don't think there's any other publishers that are like Zenimax size or bigger, that are privately owned, that are in a position where they need to sell, right? Like I've seen people say like, oh, Sony should buy Sega, and it's like, no, that's not even possible. What are you talking about? Like I don't know. I think it's a very... I don't think we're going to see any headlines like this in a very long time. This seems very unique to me. I don't know.
I think you're going to see more of this as the next generation kicks off.
Well, I think they had to announce something after Halo got delayed. So I mean, this is
But
also, basically this is why you need to buy a PS5. I mean, a Xbox Series 150. Whatever it is. They're basically saying this is why you need to buy an Xbox. We don't have the shit now, but we're going to. And I've never been a huge Bethesda person, so that doesn't really sway me one way or the other. And it really just depends on if we're going to keep doing exclusive games, which, I mean, obviously we are with God of War and stuff like that, but I feel like especially Microsoft and Nintendo are more trending towards crossplay and all that shit. So it's interesting because it's like, here on one hand they bought this studio and they're exclusive. On the other hand, they're also trying to be more cross compatible and playing nice. So it's just weird.
Yeah, Microsoft has been far better than Sony or Nintendo.
Oh, absolutely. Sony fucking sucks when it comes to crossplay. They're
they really do.
D-bags.
And it's not like
and
Nintendo.
I say that as a Sony fan.
Yeah, and it's not like Nintendo's ever going to put Mario on an Xbox, but yeah, I mean, I think the biggest question I have, and CJ, I'm curious what you think about this, is they have said that for the foreseeable future, like existing obligations will be honored, but past that is
what does
nebulous.
that mean?
Yeah. At what point do we see them go Microsoft exclusive, and do we think that anything maybe is exempt from that?
Okay, so what I think will happen will be, Microsoft will still play nice. Like they'll just anything established like Elder Scrolls, Doom, Wolfenstein, PlayStation will have. I think Starfield's an exclusive. I'm calling it.
I think you're probably right about that.
That's not a bad take.
To be honest.
I'm calling Starfield. I was talking about this over Xbox Live with someone. Where what I would want them to do is essentially just cut it off and be like, all right, no, that's it. Everything's exclusive. I want Microsoft to play hard. I really want Microsoft, like let Deathloop and what's that other one? The horror
Runner?
Game. Yeah, no,
Ghostwire 2.
Ghostwire.
No, not Ghost Runner. Yeah, yeah.
Like, let those be the last two games that PlayStation gets, and I want the chaos to like that comes from like Elder Scrolls 6, the next Fallout, the next Doom, and the next Wolfenstein. Like, I want. What do you think?
For the sake of chaos.
Yeah, see, I don't know how I feel about this. I am never so. In the past, I've always said, I'm completely against third-party exclusivity, but that's not the case anymore. Like, Bethesda is now owned by Microsoft. Microsoft does have a history of putting their games out on other consoles, specifically Nintendo. You've got Ori, it's Minecraft is everywhere. Minecraft Dungeons is another one. I do think the Elder Scrolls series is going to be Xbox exclusive going forward.
I don't think so.
I do. I think. Yeah, no, I do.
I think this is one of those things because I mean they already announced the new one, right? At
sorta. I mean, but all
with
they
the
did was say
screen,
Elder Scrolls 6.
But like, wouldn't you consider that like a prior thing though?
So
like,
that's the thing.
There were no
Elder Scrolls 6
platforms.
might be multi-platform.
There were
but
no platforms listed.
What happens when we get to Elder Scrolls 7? Right?
Yeah.
Which we're talking 30
yeah.
years from now, of course.
I mean,
right.
we'll
Well, that's
all
what I mean. I think the
Yeah.
newest one isn't gonna be exclusive, but moving forward after this, yeah, maybe.
I think the new one is going to be exclusive. I think all the major. I'll be honest with you. Like, I think all the major IPs going forward from Bethesda. When you talk about, I mean, Fallout and Elder Scrolls and Doom, like I think you are looking at a slew of Xbox exclusive games.
Let me ask you this. Do you think that are they going to make it exclusive permanently or wait a year, kind of like they did Final Fantasy VII Remake before PC and Xbox releases?
Seems like Bustin has an opinion here.
Bustin, come on.
Oh, Justin,
this is basically what I've been trying to say for the whole time. Like, I could see it going so many different ways. I really don't know what the course is going to be. I think the one way that to me makes the most sense is timed exclusivity, especially if they're going to be touting these games coming to Game Pass day and date instead of being $70 like on Xbox. Like, that's still, these are still massive franchises, and that's still like, it's very clear that Microsoft is moving toward Game Pass more so than Xbox.
Right. Xbox is a service
Xbox
as opposed to a box.
Now kind of like the passageway to Game Pass. So I could, but like also I could see them being like, look, we've been ragged on for having no exclusives for a while, but so we're not going to have it. But it's also so weird because like they said they're honoring like the PlayStation exclusivity periods for Deathloop and Ghostwire, but like those are also coming out on PC, so those could also be on Game Pass on PC the same day that they're out exclusively on PS5, and not on Xbox. Sure. Like there's so much weirdness to this. Like the only, I mean, I've talked about this before, but a big part of the reason that PlayStation is my main platform is because of the controller. And so, like, that's the only reason that this is kind of a bummer for me, because especially, like, Doom in particular is something that I can't really play on anything but a PlayStation controller because it would cause serious, serious pain for me. So, like, that's the only reason I'm kind of bummed about, like, this exclusivity thing. Plus, I think that Doom in particular has kind of had a legacy of, hey, Doom is everywhere. All the time. Like anytime there's like a new product with a screen on it, somebody puts Doom on it.
Doom for like, Samsung Smart Fridge.
So like it'll be interesting because I could see so many different variables. I mean, also it could just be, hey, we put so much effort into resources for developing for like a PS5 version already, like throwing that out, having our PlayStation, like, dropping our PlayStation focused like programmers would be a bad thing. Like there's so many variables. I don't even think that Microsoft has all this figured out yet. But I do absolutely think that at the very least, they are going to have significant timed exclusivity alongside Game Pass day and date launches for everything Bethesda coming up.
I mean, so I think we have to remember what Phil Spencer said, right? I think it was Phil Spencer who said, like, exclusivity for these Bethesda games is we're going to look at this on a case by case basis. So I believe those are the exact words he used. So I think when you think about a slew of games, and I'll toss it to CJ here. When you think of a slew of games like Elder Scrolls, Starfield, Doom. I mean, what else does Bethesda have? Dishonored, The Evil Within. I mean, these are all franchises. Wolfenstein. Like some of those games are going to be Xbox exclusives, hands down.
This gets me Evil Within 3.
Yeah, I can definitely see that being an exclusive.
But I mean, so I guess my question for CJ is, do you think Xbox will skew towards smaller franchises like The Evil Within and Dishonored maybe being Xbox exclusive as opposed to the big? Because I mean, if they did make Elder Scrolls and Fallout and Starfield exclusive to Xbox, then I mean they're losing out on a lot of that PlayStation money, and Microsoft loves money.
Okay, so the smaller stuff I think is easier to sell in Game Pass. I think it's a lot easier to sell a game like Evil Within, a game like Dishonored, a game like
I'll buy that.
Like on Game Pass. I think putting an Elder Scrolls, putting a Fallout, putting a Starfield on Game Pass could be seen as cheapening the effect of them. Makes sense. So I think, yeah, it would benefit Microsoft to sell it on PlayStation. Again, I want them to hold on to everything because, again, I really want
You're a
Microsoft to have the
madman.
exclusive. I am a madman. But here's the thing: if
Sharing is
Sony,
caring.
if Sony can, have all these wonderful exclusives and whatever, and everyone's like cool with it, right? Yeah, Sony has God of War, Sony has Uncharted, Sony has Last of Us. Why can't Microsoft do the same thing with a different method? They're not developing their own in-house stuff; they're just acquiring stuff. Do you get what I'm saying?
Yeah.
No,
I do.
yeah.
And to be acquired, you have to be up for sale, right? Like,
All's fair in love and war.
yeah.
You know?
I can kind of see
Yeah.
that.
So,
I think that's a good point because my whole thing was, you have God of War, you have The Last of Us, but these are already, these things were established on PlayStation. And so when they bought Bethesda, I was like, it doesn't seem fair to make all these games that were exclusive to everybody all of a sudden make them not exclusive to, but I mean, if you buy it, what difference does it make? So I think that's a good point, but it still leaves me uncomfortable. Like I'm still like, oh, I don't know. That sounds dirty. It just sounds dirty and unfair.
For me, it's just like in general, I just don't like the idea of platform holders buying publishers. Like,
yeah, I'm the same way.
I think
it's a monopoly at that point.
I mean, I don't know if I'd go that far, but like, especially one like Bethesda. Like, see, I'm also weird where I don't like the Bethesda Game Studios games at all, but I like a lot of the other games under Bethesda umbrella. Like, I love id, I love Machine Games, I love Tango, I love Arcane. So like, I'm bummed I'm not. Like, I am going to get a Series S next gen. I have already, decided on that. So it's not like I'm not going to be able to play these games, but it's a bummer I won't be able to play them on the more powerful preferred platform that is going to be my, my primary. Especially because my issues with the controllers and stuff. But like, I think it's just always kind of worrying when we get to the point where entire publishers are being swept up by a single platform holder, because I do kind of get like the added emotion of like previously multi-platform stuff maybe kind of evaporating is kind of up is different. And like I've said before, I don't have an issue with timed exclusivity stuff, because especially when they're transparent about it ahead of time, because I think, hey, like, you just have to wait a little longer, but like they're like, that's extra money that goes to the developer. That's like, they can focus on a single platform and then they can focus on porting it. Especially for a smaller development studio or one that might be struggling, that could be a very important thing. Like, I get it, and I do kind of worry about this whole arms race thing that John mentioned. We'll just have to see how it goes, because I honestly think that the only person that has enough, the only one that actually really has enough money to nab publishers is Microsoft.
Well, and that's kind of my thing is no, Derek, go ahead, please.
Yeah, so I was gonna say, so the thing about this whole like arms race of buying up publishers, like I don't think it's gonna happen. I think the way I feel about this is kind of the same way I feel about any other publisher buying up Warner Brothers back when we talked about that, right? It doesn't feel good. Just because it's big company acquiring big company, that doesn't necessarily mean that the outcomes of like potential platform exclusivity or like, that's just, it's inconvenient to people who didn't plan on owning that platform, right? And that's not anti-consumer or anything, which is a phrase that I hate. My concern does, like, if I have any concern, it's the idea that, suddenly people are gonna get more and more aggressive about, buying up major publishers. But I don't think that's going to happen. Now, if we see...
I clear, maybe not publishers, but like a lot of independent studios.
Now, if we were to see more large, like bigger than Ninja Theory acquisitions, because I don't think any acquisition that Microsoft has made up till now has been at all bothersome or problematic in any way for the industry. But if we started seeing Microsoft or Sony buying up more large developers or publishers, I'd get concerned. I don't think there's momentum for that, right? Microsoft's made a lot of acquisitions. They've only got so much money. They just dropped $7.5 billion on Zenimax. Like, Sony's already pretty well loaded out, both in exclusives and in exclusivity deals with partners. So I just don't know that there's a whole lot of steam for that if it happens. But we'll see.
So I've got a question for Brittany, actually. We know, so Microsoft bought Mojang. Microsoft bought Bethesda. There's another developer / publisher, a big one that they were rumored to be looking at, and the name is escaping me, and I'm going to remember it at 2 a.m. and send you a text message and tell you what it is.
Warner Brothers and Sega have been rumored, but the Sega rumors are just
Sega's
people
never
building.
Happening.
The Sega thing, I swear, it's been over a decade of rumors about Microsoft and Sega. Oh, there was rumors about Bungie, yeah,
right, but none of these. I can't think of the exact one, but. My question is,
Microsoft buying back Bungie would be wild.
If I was, weird. Yeah, that would have been.
I want to kick this at Brittany first. Do you think we've seen the last of Microsoft's big? I'm talking like major third-party developer / publisher acquisitions.
Probably not. I mean, if I'm gonna say simply because Bethesda was a big studio, and if they're willing to let themselves. I say let themselves, but if they're willing to give the rights over to Microsoft, I think that is going to make a lot of smaller studios feel okay about it, and not like they're gonna. I'm not saying smaller studios are emotional, but I think there's a certain look that they want to uphold. If that makes sense, like I think people are gonna feel better about selling themselves, like
it normalizes it,
right? Exactly, like. I wonder if Microsoft would have bought Telltale if they would have known what the fuck was happening, so maybe it's making smaller studios more approachable towards Microsoft or Sony, or it's putting publishers out there more. So while I don't like the idea of Microsoft buying Bethesda, I think it could be good for smaller studios, especially during a time of COVID when things are uncertain and people could be losing jobs. Like, if this deal, I will not feel as bad about it. If this deal saved somebody's job, then it was worth it. Like, if this deal saved lots of jobs, it was worth it. So I hope smaller studios, if they're struggling, I hope this gives them some kind of peace and, some kind of clarity.
I think also, though, like, there has been writing on the wall that Bethesda was heading for hard times for a while, especially when you, because, look at the stuff that they put out the past few years. Like, Dishonored 2, Death of the Outsider, Wolfenstein 2, Wolfenstein Youngblood.
Fallout 76.
Fallout 76.
Yeah.
That's
Fallout 76 has kind of recovered, but a lot of those other games that I mentioned bombed hard. Like, I remember I was actually talking several months ago with a few people about this, and it was like, I was expecting Bethesda to maybe try to sell off, like, maybe Arcane or Machine Games or something. I did not think all of Bethesda would be going, but, like, I was kind of dreading potential, layoffs or closures at those studios. And, like, those are studios that I really, really, really love. And, obviously I would rather have them stay open because I think they're really important for this industry, because they're some of the leaders on types of games that aren't really made too much anymore. And so I'm glad that they're not closing. I'm really interested to see what they do, because I think Microsoft's resources and kind of their desire to build a stronger first party will really bode well for some of their studios. But it'll be interesting to see where this goes, because I know I've made some predictions and stuff, but I can't really confidently say one way or the other how things are going to go. So it'll be interested to follow.
So here's my question bouncing off all this, right? Like I've seen it mentioned in the chat a few times, and they're right. Like Sony is involved in these negotiations too, right? Like they are also trying to buy studios. Let's not pretend otherwise. What do we think? I'll start with Derek. What do we think the next big studio is that like what do we think Sony's looking at? What are they going to purchase next? I mean, because I feel like they have to answer this with something.
You're asking the
right?
guy who thinks that there's not going to be a bidding war. So I mean,
Derek,
it's simple.
They're going to buy something.
Sure, they're going to buy some small developer that we didn't even know was up for sale. Like, but the big guys and gals, they don't sell unless they're in trouble. Zenimax was in trouble. Zenimax needed this money.
Insomniac wasn't.
Insomniac had already been partnered with Sony for so long that it was wild that Sunset Overdrive was an Xbox game.
Was insurance. Insomniac is just like Sony like saying, "Fuck it, no more Sunset Overdrive."
Yeah. Right. So I think it is. I think going, okay, well, if Microsoft bought Bethesda, then is Sony gonna buy 2K or whatever? Is just it's reductive and it's it ignores the very unique situation behind Zenimax even being available in the first place. And also Sony just doesn't have that kind of fucking liquid cash to throw around.
Yeah.
Most of Sony's money is tied up in assets. It's not liquid. They can't make 7.5 billion cash purchases. They just can't do it. So
I have one that's probably a pretty safe prediction, and then a spicier one. So Sony has been saying that for the past few years, ever since the Insomniac acquisition, that they've been looking for more studios to acquire. They bid $1 billion on, and they eventually got outbid by Tencent, but it was like Certain Affinity, Digital Extremes, and a few other like online focused studios. Like we know they're trying to acquire more studios, and I do think they're gonna maybe up some of their bids on some of those in response to this. I don't think it's going to be a massive thing, but there's two things I think are likely. I think Housemarque, especially if Returnal does well, I think they get nabbed up by Sony. They've been very, very good partners with Sony ever since the PS3 days and Super Stardust. They work really well on PlayStation hardware. They've got a lot of fans there. They're a smaller studio. They would not be that expensive, and they've also been on some hard times, and I think they're probably looking for a buyout with that. So Housemarque is one that I think is predictable. Now, my spicier take. And this isn't so much with them buying the actual publisher as it is them purchasing Konami's IPs. Because Konami has diversified into other a lot of other businesses. They're working with
Pachinko.
Yeah,
well,
I was gonna say
Pachinko's a big thing.
Just say Pachinko. We all know what
insurance and everything is big for Konami and stuff. It's clear that they don't want to put the money and they don't have the development resources to support a lot of these franchises.
Derek is looking very, very suggestively into the camera right now, and it's distracting me.
I'm disappointed.
In who?
Konami. I hate Konami selling IP rumors. I just do. It's irrational. Continue.
So I've got a spicy one that I know Brittany will have something to say about.
Oh,
I think if Sony is going to buy any developer, it's Square Enix.
Oh, absolutely, 100%.
Yeah, I can see that.
It is going to be Square Enix. Square Enix games traditionally sell like hot poop on Xbox consoles. Final Fantasy 14 isn't even available on Xbox. Final Fantasy 7 Remake is not coming out on Xbox till next year. Final Fantasy 16 is a PlayStation 5 exclusive as far as we know. And it's coming to PC too, obviously, but it is a console exclusive to PlayStation 5. They've got a long and storied history with Sony, and more so than they do with Nintendo. I saw somebody in the chat say they'll never say goodbye to Nintendo. They have been with Sony longer than they were with Nintendo. So I want to see what Brittany thought about this, because I think I think that is the one that Sony is. If they're going to purchase a big dev, that's the one.
I think they could. I don't know if Sony would agree to that. And Sony doesn't look how successful Final Fantasy 14 is, all right? Like Sony's not I mean, Square Enix isn't going to be selling anything anytime soon, and they don't have to. Like I could see them porting 14 to Xbox before ever selling themselves off to begin with. That being said, I could see that happening just because I'm echoing everything you said. They sell better on PlayStation. There's not really a market for Square games on Xbox. And it could just be me making assumptions over Xbox players and what they want out of games, but I feel like, I don't know. I just feel like Square Enix would not sell themselves to Sony. I think they're just going to continue doing what they're doing, which would be like Final Fantasy VII Remake, release Sony exclusively first, and then release to Xbox, PC, whatever later.
CJ, you had your hand up for a little bit ago.
Well, I was gonna say because didn't Sony have like a stake in Square Enix back during the PS2 era? Like they like essentially helped them out after the Spirits Within bombed.
Something like that.
They sold it a couple years ago too. Like I think they owned like a 20% stake or
really?
something.
Okay.
And they sold it a few years ago.
God, I had forgotten all about that fucking movie. The movie that almost killed Square. Like, I mean, that
movie almost killed me. I don't know what you're talking about.
So. Sorry to bring it back.
Yeah.
Do we got anything else on this one, Derek?
I think we are already delving into almost clickbait territory on when we're talking about who could buy who is like I have a
fun discussion.
Sony will buy FromSoft at some point.
Listen, I'll use any excuse to talk about Final Fantasy and Square Enix.
If I had to sit through all of this, I just want to say one more thing before we move on, which is I just hope that Microsoft buying Zenimax means that BGS games from here out are actually finished before they're released.
Ooh, that's a spicy take. That's a spicy opinion.
That's what I got.
Chug afterward. Really.
Before we move on to our next segment, I did not want to break up this segment, but our good buddy and fellow podcast mate Finn is in the chat, and it is his birthday tomorrow, and he is not on the show tonight because he is out at birthday dinner with Saki. So happy early birthday, our good friend. We love you.
Some of us love you.
That's true.
Let's
wait.
Get
I have
out
drinking water in my sinuses now because it was too big a chug and it hurts.
Birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday.
What's our next topic?
Of course, CJ.
I was expecting this in some weird way. I was expecting John would sing. I don't know how.
Happy birthday to you.
Absolutely not. I will never dab for any reason ever, unless there's a bet and you bet that I can't do something and I lose and you want me to dab. That's the only way I will dab.
You just gave him an end.
Wow.
So
yeah, you really did.
That's a derailment. Our next topic is something that I know that we tend to not get too into PC specific gaming stuff, just because it's still kind of a bit more niche than the general gaming market.
No,
but I wish it wasn't. I'm a PC boy, but the Nvidia's new graphics cards, the RTX 3000 line, the 3080 and the 3090 have now launched, and for all of the buzz that they were picking up before release, because that fantastic presentation, he pulled one of them out of an oven. It was great. He had way too many spatulas, real-time ray tracing on the spatulas. But A, availability has been hard to get a hold of them. That's not surprising. That's gaming hardware in 2020. But B, there have been some crashes. I don't know how many of you have been following the story around these hardware problems with the RTX 3080 specifically. which is
I
the
have
one
not,
everybody
because
wants.
I don't know anything about this.
Okay.
Barely use my laptop.
I know a little bit, but you can explain it better, Derek.
Yeah. So, excuse me. All right, I apologize. So basically, people with their brand new RTX 3080s were starting to experience crashing in games, which a crash may happen every now and again, but like regular crashing, repeated crashing, very shortly into games, sometimes on brand new hardware from multiple different vendors, right? It wasn't just like one shitty brand. It was MSI, it was Asus, it was Nvidia's own, it was EVGA and Gigabyte. All the different board manufacturers were having problems. So what the gaming community latched onto is a report from from Igor's lab that basically suggested that the problem may have to do with a capacitor layout on the back of the board. Using a certain type of capacitor that is abbreviated as a POSCAP as opposed to an MLCC. It's hardware bullshit. It's hardware bullshit you don't understand, and I don't really understand, and 90% of the people who are writing articles about this did not understand. Which I think is kind of the point, is nobody really understood what they were talking about when they were blaming these capacitors and circulating the rumor. And even a couple of the board partners like EVGA came out and said, like, yeah, we tested and we had some problems, so we switched to this more specific capacitor layout, whatever. Driver updates come. And now the crashes have stopped. No noticeable differences in performance. Major actual, like, first-hand investigative journalists like Hardware Unboxed and Gamers Nexus have done the tests. And the cards were not like downclocked. They were not. It was a stability fix. There was instability in the Windows drivers, and it's fixed. And I think what this tells me, even though this is a very niche story that maybe I only know the details about, what I want kind of feedback on from you all is, to me, this almost seems like a story where one person maybe kind of irresponsibly pointed the finger at a possible cause, and then everybody jumped on board pretending to know more about like hardware and engineering in that way that gamers do.
That doesn't sound like PC gamers.
Yeah,
what do
well,
you mean?
Yeah.
So I think there's like a lot of things in play here, because basically the 3080, when it was announced, and I was kind of in this boat too, is everybody's like, this is kind of too good to be true. Especially from Nvidia. We all kind of expect some serious bullshit from Nvidia, be it through pricing or various aspects. In this case, it was just the sheer availability of the 3080. It was essentially a paper launch, which is where it's technically being sold, but there's not enough of them to anywhere near meet demand. So I think when there was issues and stuff, people were quick to cling to that because in everybody's mind, oh, this thing was too good to be true. Like, there was another thing that circulated that it was only just specifically from Newegg, but basically they were buying up cards that were meant for pre-builts. So they were like buying them in bulk and shipping them without
like proper
shipping
packaging.
them without boxes. So, like, pieces of them would be bent when they arrived, and they'd be defective. And people thought that was an issue with the cards themselves, and it was just Newegg being dumb. So, like, I do get why people wanted to jump on this bandwagon. Obviously, I'm glad it got fixed, especially for the people that, you know, have fought to get these cards, because they've been so difficult to get. But, yeah.
So here's a question I have, because people, I agree that to a certain extent it seems like people were upset and people were looking for a reason to pick up the torch and pitchfork, right? And if they hadn't been so already in the mind space of, I want a reason to yell at Nvidia and these other board manufacturers, that they maybe wouldn't have jumped on an unsubstantiated report from a single outlet that was entirely speculative in the first place, before claiming I mean, it was rampant in our Discord. Like, if you went to our tech and hardware section, like, people were talking about it in there and saying, oh, well, X brand is fine and X brand is not. And it's, I don't even blame those people. It's just the way that gaming media circulated this story. But PlayStation 5 and the next series of Xbox have both had similar availability issues when it came to getting pre-orders. And I haven't seen nearly the blow up. Like, I haven't seen people, and maybe it's just, is it just because those products are not in people's hands yet? And that when the PlayStation 5 and Xbox Series S and X end up in people's hands, they're going to blow every minor launch issue into a big kerfuffle? Or is this a PC gamers are a whole different mess kind of situation? Like, what's going on? Is this just 2020? Do we all just need to chill?
I wish I had more of an opinion on this, because I don't know anything about graphics cards. I don't know anything.
It makes your
about
game
PC
pretty, John.
gaming. What I do know. What's that?
I said it makes your game pretty, John.
But I know that much. But what I do think,
it makes the graphics.
None of this. Shut the fuck up, man. None of this. When you're talking about availability issues, whether it's graphics cards or PlayStation 5 or Xbox Series X, I always err on the side of, I think I don't think it's just that pre-orders are being mishandled. I think it's artificial scarcity. I do. And I think it's shitty. And in regards to the graphics cards, like, didn't those, like, the first time they went for pre-order, they were gone within seconds.
Yeah, like, literally. I mean,
did you get one, Derek? Because I know you wanted one.
I did, and I'm not willing to talk about what small outlet I went to because people haven't figured it out yet, and I need their back order not to get worse until I get mine. When I get mine, I will let people know.
You went, Derek. You physically stood in line, right?
No, like, fuck that noise. No,
like,
I
thought you.
I did that thing.
I thought you
where
went,
I had like
6
browser tabs open on my monitor spread here, and like I set an alarm for like 1 minute before it was supposed to go live, and then the minute it was supposed to go live. So it was like 1 minute before, alarm went off, canceled alarm, refreshed every page, and then waited. And then as soon as the alarm went off for, okay, they're live, I refreshed every page. By the time they refreshed, everything was out of stock. I mean, literally 3 seconds. 3 seconds they went from, like, notify me when they're out, coming soon, to unavailable. 3 seconds. It was bad.
I remember people talking about how it was a matter of literal seconds. Like, at least with the consoles, at least with PS5 and Xbox, like, you could get one in your cart. You could reload it a bunch of times, and maybe you pre-ordered one, maybe you didn't, but at least you could get it in your cart. Like, that's it.
I've gotten so many of these cards in my cart, and that's the worst thing is look, you want to know how bad this situation is? I'm following 2 different fucking Twitter bots and 2 different Discord communities that are using bots to troll, like, to scrape for availability. The moment they get available, I get a push notification on my phone, like 5 times a day up until recently. My phone beeps and I just and I get through to Newegg or Best Buy or wherever it is, or Amazon, and I add the fucking card to my cart, just the first one available. It doesn't even matter what manufacturer. Is it EVGA? They're fine. Gigabyte? Sure. Asus? That'd be fantastic. Fucking Zotac? Ugh, but I guess I'll take it. Like, and then I get it in my cart, and I get to check out.
I have no idea what any of that even means.
They're different manufacturers, John. They all make the card. And I go to checkout, and I hit the button, and I pick the payment, and I do it, and then it goes, sorry, we don't actually have any of these cards. And I was like, it was in my cart. Imagine grabbing the milk off the shelf at your local, I don't know if you have Kroger where you live, but wherever you live, you imagine that you grab the milk and you get up to the checkout counter and you look down in your cart to grab the milk, and the milk is gone. That's what's happening.
Eric, I need to ask you a question. How long has this been on your mind?
When did these cards come out?
Yeah,
it was the day after the PS5 pre-orders.
What day was that?
This.
Oh god, it was.
Speaking of,
2 weeks
did
ago.
anybody get any? Have we talked about that yet? Was that the week before last?
Yeah, we talked about it. Most of us had gotten them, except
one.
Finn, unfortunately.
It was. Hang on.
I'm not a PC gamer.
I'm gonna pull up the calendar. I'll find out.
3080s though. Derek is the only person I know that has gotten one,
and I don't actually have it. I just placed an order.
Okay,
at a business website
fair.
that lets you purchase against upcoming stock that is not currently being tracked by bots. So we will see.
It.
I could still be waiting a month for that motherfucker.
Yeah. In general, I know a lot of people were gunning for it, but people were much more successful with PlayStation and Xbox.
It's been like 3 weeks.
Pre-orders.
It's been like 3 weeks of like 5 times a day me panic grabbing my digital milk. In the metaphor that I'm using.
Digital milk.
So I don't know. Maybe that's part of it. Is somebody who primarily games on PC. Maybe I do just have brainworms. Maybe all us PC gamers have brainworms, and that's why we are willing to jump on any explanation for why we're already mad. I don't know, but it's weird. I'm curious if when the PS5 and Xbox Series come out, if like one of them occasionally has trouble reading discs, like 1 out of every 100,000 times, and that gets blown out of proportion, right? Like,
oh, that happens every time.
Yeah,
that happens every time.
It's just like a new hardware thing that we just do.
Yeah, no, it happens every time, and I think it's going to be especially bad this year because like people just wanted to buy some new hardware this year, and I think that's also probably an amplified thing with the 3080s.
We all have depression, and we can only feel things when we buy things.
Especially with gaming hardware, a lot of us just
Hold on. Not to derail, but I need an answer on this. Bagged milk?
Have you not heard of bagged milk, my dude?
Have you not heard of bagged milk?
It comes in bags, my dude.
No!
Yeah, it
comes
does.
in bags in Canada.
Yeah,
it's a big thing.
The only bag milk should come in is the udder that you squeeze it from.
That's
like
just
you know what's funny?
That's not how it works.
Hang on.
Bagged milk.
Justin and Brittany, you two are close to my age. CJ, how old are you?
Oh god, no, I'm done answering that question because when I answered it, when John asked, he had a fucking breakdown on my show, like a crisis on it. Like I don't want to talk about my age.
Okay,
just do it.
Let's hear it.
I'm
22. I'm 22 years old.
Excellent, man. That's awesome. and you're hustling, my dude. How is that that's super cool?
Younger than me, man.
That's super cool. So
you know, John, I was born the year Final Fantasy VII came out. How does that make you feel?
Shut up! Stop. I was 17 years old.
Oh no,
Justin and Brittany, you two are within a couple years of me. Do you remember at some point when you were in public school? I would have been in elementary school.
No, I didn't have bagged milk in public
They
school.
didn't do bags of milk in your cafeteria?
We did cartons.
Wait, they didn't. No, we had like tiny little milk cartons.
Right. We did that. We did, but then for a couple years, it was in bags. It was in little rectangular bags, and you had to jab it with a straw in anywhere, and it didn't work because it would all bubble out the point where you stabbed it.
Wait, are you talking about like a Capri Sun but milk?
I wish it was like a Capri Sun.
No,
it's just a rectangular pouch of.
CJ is closer to you in age, apparently, according to the bagged milk logic.
Yeah, well, I don't know.
Well,
I don't like this.
I had bagged apple juice. I had like bagged apple juice in elementary school, not bagged milk. We had little cartons.
Yeah. So you just see a little transparent, like rectangle of chocolate milk that you stabbed your straw in, like.
At 10 in the morning while eating a burger.
Anyway,
let's talk about crunch, y'all.
Yeah,
I have to Google this.
Hang on, no, we do gotta let John. Hang on, I'm gonna pull up bagged milk.
How has John never heard of this?
I don't know, but hang on, we're gonna show people what bagged milk is. We're gonna show people on the stream.
I googled bagged milk. Hold on, wait. I googled bagged milk, and the first thing that came up was, why do Canadians drink bagged milk?
Yeah, Jeff.
Folks, it's
Oh my God! It is bagged milk.
I
It's
told
bagged
you.
milk?
Bagged milk.
It's bagged milk. Get this picture
No.
bigger.
No.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah, it's bagged milk, my dude.
This is terrible.
Look at that.
They put it in a
Why is it in
picture.
a fucking bag?
Yeah, and then you poke it, and then you pull the bag up, and then you got a pitcher of milk.
No, this is terrible. No. End the podcast. End the podcast.
It's,
End the pod.
it's
No.
bagged milk.
Oh my God.
Here's a
I
great
hate-
photo
I
of
hate
bagged
that
milk
this is
on a
discussion
plate with
on
a
my
fork and
first
knife.
podcast as an official member. Fucking bagged milk stole the show, and I hate it. I hate it.
Terrible. Oh God, here's bagged milk with like a fucking nozzle on it.
Like box wine.
Like it's it's from the Canadian brew house.
It's beer milk.
I hate this. I absolutely hate this.
This offends every sensibility I've ever had.
Poor Jeff.
Man,
I
you
just
know-
keep seeing Jeff and Jeff. Ugh.
Jeff's insisting it's not a thing, but like I've gone to Canada
No,
plenty. I
it
live
is
near
a
the
thing.
border, and I've
At
seen it. Like,
Yeah, it is a thing.
So, and Jeff is full of shit because it says right here, "Oh Canada, as proud Canucks, we certainly have our share of quirky traits."
Jeff
and
is
tastes."
just trying to
For
gaslight you.
No, tell Jeff he doesn't have to be ashamed about his bagged milk. That's
Ketchup
fine.
chips?
It's like-
Fine.
ketchup. Wait, ketchup chips? What the fuck are
John,
ketchup
we
chips?
never
can't
had
do
ketchup
every
chips?
Canada thing right now.
All right.
We can't.
Let's
We can't.
talk
It says
about
here.
crunch.
It
Let's-
says here,
let's-
milk bags have been in Canadian fridges since the 1970s. So Jeff, you're lying. Jeff knows. He knows.
John,
That's all I gotta
Ketchup
say.
chips are
Yeah.
delicious, by the way.
You know what
That's all
we
I gotta
should
say on this
be.
subject. Jeff
you,
knows.
You know
Jeff
what we
knows.
should be every bit as mad about, if not
Yes,
more
thank
mad.
you.
Hey, here we go. That's
There
a
we
good
go.
one.
Yeah, that's a
It
transition.
is crunch in motherfucking video games. I swear to God, we have the crunch topic every couple of months, it feels like. And it's the same topic every time. You swap out a developer or publisher. We say the same shit. Ain't no motherfuckers listening. So, CD Projekt Red promised there would be no crunch on Cyberpunk 2077. Not only do we learn, thanks to Jason Schreier, that they have had crunch going on for quite some time, just not like mandatory crunch. It's just that thing where you kind of culturally and socially pressure people into working 60, 80-hour work weeks, but they are now officially in mandatory crunch and will be until release, at least. Y'all,
At least that game's gonna come in and need so many
It's gonna come in
patches
hot.
to fix it up.
it's gonna come in hot. There's no way it doesn't. And you can't patch transphobia out of a game either, so...
or racism.
Yeah, or
Latino.
racism. Good fucking point. Yeah, I bet that one's...
Zesty.
God, fucking... Natalie, right, was posting about the fucking
The
Latino gang.
Valencios.
Yeah, and it
The
was so,
Valencios.
like... God, it was awful. Oh, yeah, the all-black, like,
don't
Haitian
forget-
voodoo gang.
The Voodoo Daddies.
Yeah,
Or something like that. Like
yeah.
it's yeah, and then there's the don't forget the Tiger Claws. Spelled with a Y. The Tiger Claws.
All right, but that sounds
the
dope.
Chinese game.
No, now it doesn't. Fuck.
Whoa, fuck.
No, yeah. Yeah, see?
I was like, give
Yeah.
me a bunch of white dudes dressed in neon and call them Tiger Claws. It's fine. The moment you make them all Chinese,
A little bit on the nose.
I saw a bunch of this came to light, and I saw a bunch of people talking on Twitter about how, this is just, they're getting paid for it. They're getting paid extra for it. I'm like, okay, but you can't buy
Are they?
time with your family.
Are they getting paid
You
extra?
Can't buy mental health.
a lot of
This is
people
what
are
the
on
thing-
salary.
They are.
Oh.
What pisses me off about it is that
Polish
they,
labor laws mean they have to be like appropriately compensated for overtime.
Yeah.
But
I don't-
I mean,
the
that's
thing
still
that
not a
bothers
defense.
me-
I'm just saying
Yeah.
for that
Yeah,
question. Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. But the thing that bothers me, I'm not going to say more because people's mental well-being is way more important. But the thing that really bothers me is to specifically go out of your way to get an interview with somebody, say we're not going to do this thing, and then to do the fucking thing. Like, what's wrong with you?
That's the thing. That's the thing that I can't get over with this story. And like, I know it's bad for me to just be laughing at this part, like, because I mean, I kind of inevitably knew how this story was going to go as soon as they did that interview, but it's like, did you guys really put an interview like that with Jason Schreier of all people and expect him to not follow up? Like, what? Like, how in the world did you think that was a good idea? You all, like, we all could have told you a year ago that this was going to blow up in your face.
Why people be packed with audacity? That's
yeah.
valid.
The funny thing is they probably would have gained so much more respect had they have just pushed it back. Like, and it makes me wonder, like, are the executives doing it because they're being pressured by Microsoft or Sony or whatever? But like, how many times have we seen the scenario where it's like crunch is happening and we're like, crunch bad, don't do crunch, everybody hates crunch, and Cyberpunk, they're like, yeah, you know what, we're gonna tell people we're not gonna do crunch, and everybody like, yay, no crunch, and then they fucking are like, yikes, actually we're gonna make you work some overtime, we're gonna get this game out, we don't care.
Hey, what's that cereal with the captain on the front with the blue hat and the
lunch?
That's what you're all gonna do for the next few months. Say bye to your families. Like,
So,
like, that's what I don't understand. It's like, why go out of the way to specifically make an interview that we're not going to do this thing and then do the thing?
hey, yeah, why did
So,
I mean? Because
you got so much fucking respect for saying you're not going to do this. Just delay it. We would have been fine with it.
we're talking about a company that released a
so-
promotional still of Cyberpunk 2077 that included a poster within the game world with a fetishized trans woman whose dick was on backwards. So maybe they're just not smart.
So
y'all. Maybe they're just not smart.
So I'm not going to, obviously I'm not going to defend it, but there might be an explanation for it, and the explanation is this. It's not a great one, but in 2016, Final Fantasy 15 was originally supposed to come out in September.
I am curious how you're gonna fucking turn this into Final Fantasy.
How the fuck did you manage to turn this around to Final Fantasy?
I'm actually all right. I'm going to make let me make my
Let's
point.
give him a chance here.
The game was delayed from September to November. And that was the last time they could do the game because the game was contractually obligated to come out within that fiscal year. And this is the case for a lot of games. Sometimes when you're talking about games that and companies that have shareholders that dictate, like, okay, we need the game out by this. A lot of these companies are legally bound to have games out within a certain fiscal year. Now, so it's
the
possible.
fiscal year goes till March, though. There's still room for a delay.
I know, but they, these things are weird, right? Like it to be a fiscal year, to be honest with you. Like it can be it can be a certain date. Like the game has to be out by this point. That's not defending it. It just means that CD Projekt Red didn't plan very well. But it could be an explanation as to why they would say, well, we're not going to do crunch. And then they immediately turned right back around and said, okay, it's time to do crunch.
I think
again, not a defense.
I think they needed it out for the holidays and they needed it out for those new consoles, and these new graphics cards. Because Cyberpunk is a major reason why people are buying, Nvidia Ampere cards and the next set of AMD cards that are launching.
But, they have the perfect excuse right now, and that is COVID-19.
Yeah.
So much shit has gotten delayed and pushed off because of COVID. That's all they needed to say, and people would have been understanding. I actually misspoke. So within a certain quarter, not within the entirety of the fiscal year. Like there are mandates that are put out by shareholders that say you have to have this finished by the end of X quarter. I'm still impressed you managed to turn this around and do a Final Fantasy discussion.
I kind of get where he's going.
It was the example that popped into my head. But plus, of course, I'm going to turn something to Final Fantasy. I mean, come on.
Yeah.
But no, like I genuinely think that could be a reason. Now, having said that, again, not a defense. Like crunch is bad no matter which way you slice it. What this tells me is that if that is the case, and the game is obligated to come out in the last quarter of the year, then, or the second last quarter of the year of the fiscal year, then you just don't commit to not having crunch because then it makes you look like shit when you get back around and say, well, never mind, the game isn't coming along as fast as we needed it to. We're going to have to crunch it. So how many times has this game been delayed now?
A lot.
It was announced
several, right?
It was announced in 2012.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah, exactly. So it's been delayed quite a bit. And I strongly suspect they are now at the point where they simply cannot delay it any further due to legal reasons.
Well, the thing that's really interesting about it too is like they already had one delay that already screwed up some of their marketing partnerships. Like there was the limited edition Xbox One X that was supposed to be a tie-in for Cyberpunk coming out in April. And it came with a code for the game and everything. And that system launched because the Xbox One X was getting discontinued to clear up space for the Series S and Series X manufacturing. Like, that game is going to be out. That special edition Cyberpunk console will have been out for over 6 months before the game comes out, which is really bizarre. Like, and I understand, like, they want to try to get it out, around next gen launch and like new, PC GPUs, but like they've also said that the next gen patch isn't actually coming until next year. Like that got delayed. Like I assume the plan was the game was going to release in April, and then they would have this amount of time to get it ready for next gen. That still didn't happen. And like it's clear that they're rushing hard. Like this game is, I think, going to be rough when it launches, which means they're going to have to continue this overtime past that to just get it fixed to the standard it should have launched, and then they still have to do the next gen upgrades, like and then work on any DLC. And so like they
what you just said.
Yeah.
No, I'm sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off. I want to slide this in. What you just said. The fact that the next gen patch is not coming till next year, but the game is coming out in November when the next gen systems are launching, is evidence to me that this is probably legally bound to come out by the end of November and legally cannot be delayed further.
I don't know if you guys saw it, but like in one of the recent trailers, there's like when they have the platforms all listed at the end, it's PS4, Xbox One, PC, and then in tiny text is like, also plays great on PS5 and Series X, because like it's not officially supporting next gen yet. It's just running through the backwards compatibility mode.
I love that language.
But like it's like the tiniest small text I've ever seen.
Oh, that's fantastic.
I mean, it's going to take a month to patch that game to turn the dicks back around the right way. So,
is anybody here actually planning on picking it up?
No.
Probably not. There's already a lot of stuff about it that's upsetting me, and that I didn't expect them to do well. And
it just doesn't seem like a game that I'm into anyway, despite all of its issues.
It bums me out because, like, I mean, on top of all the other issues that I will let people that are far more qualified than me to take on, like, just the whole vibe of the game is off from what I wanted. It looks like Grand Theft Auto in the future. It does not look like
Deus Ex.
Dark, like sprawling Deus Ex. The writing seems terrible, especially compared to Witcher 3. Like, nothing about this game has excited me in years, which is really unfortunate because it's like the exact sort of thing I should be into. And every single time they say more about it, it makes me less excited.
Yeah, I as somebody who loved the Deus Ex games, this just like, let's pretend that all the other fucking bullshit issues with this game weren't there. It still doesn't, like, I don't like Grand Theft Auto. I can't stand Grand Theft Auto, and Derek hit the nail on the head. Like, it looks like Grand Theft Auto in a cyberpunk world. And that just does not appeal to me whatsoever. Like, I could not be less interested in this game, and that's a shame because it is. I mean, it is going to. Look, this game is going to sell millions of fucking copies, millions and millions of copies. And like, I'm not interested. I'm not interested in one of the biggest games of the year. I just don't care. And CD Projekt Red did that to them. Like a lot of that is just CD Projekt Red's
It came from their
fault.
own personal fucking Twitter account. Like, it came from top down, you know? Like, it came from their dumbasses.
You know what's really frustrating too is that, and this is again part of a conversation that we have every time crunch comes up, but like science has shown time and again that people's productivity plummets through the floor into the basement as soon as they have to work like more than 50 hours a week for only like a couple weeks in a row. So you talk about the kind of crunch that's endemic to software development where people are working 60 to 80 hour work weeks for months at it, like on end continuously. These people are literally getting less work done than if they were working 30-hour work weeks because they're so burnt out and so tired that they are making mistakes that they then have to go back and correct, that they don't catch and have to get corrected later after 1,000 other lines of code have been piled on top of that then cause a bunch of other work to have to be redone. Like it is people become tired and sloppy and spiteful when they have to work in those kind of conditions and they don't actually get the work done. It seems like this, we take this capitalistic approach to like, if we make them work more hours, they'll get more work done. I don't see what the problem is. And it's like the quality of their work is so bad that it doesn't matter.
I think we can all agree that the well-being of people is more important than any deadline, than any, any company that's wanting something to come out on time, and I that's the big that's capitalism. That's fucking deadlines.
And the funny thing is their capitalistic greed gets in the way of, because if they didn't crunch, they would be doing better. They would be getting more work done and paying less because they're not paying overtime. It'd be cheaper and the work would be getting done faster if people were just allowed to go home and see their fucking kids at night.
Yeah, and that's why I say, Oh, no, Brittany, please, go ahead. I didn't mean to cut you off.
No, I was just saying I agree.
Oh. Yeah, I don't know. CJ, do you got anything you want to cut on?
Hit me with the capitalism hot takes. Let's go.
No, I'm not gonna do that. I'm not. No. Listen, whatever I say on Twitter stays on Twitter. I'm not gonna bring that into this podcast. I will say, looking at the reactions to this, obviously it's what you expect, right? It's gamers defending crunch, and I've noticed like game companies can be transphobic. They can force their work, like crunch 60 80 hour work weeks, and they can be horrifically offensive to however many ethnicities, and that's fine as long as the company is pro-consumer. So like CD Projekt Red is like what's that, free DLC, free upgrades to the next gen console, we have this wonderful storefront, we have no DRM, all this stuff, it's cool, you guys are gonna get all this at the cost of human life. So yeah, Derek, what you said, 100%. Like it's like the capitalism kills.
Yes, lay that sauce down.
I think a good I guess alternative or a good way to look at it is look at Animal Crossing and Nintendo. They were straight like, this game isn't going to be good if we release it now, so we're pushing it back. And people had a shit fist about it, but I mean, it was fine. It came out at the perfect time. They made bank doing it, like when it sold. So I just don't see the harm. Like, I get deadlines. I'm sure they're being forced to do this and it sucks. I'm sure the people in charge who are enforcing this crunch don't want to do it, but the fact that it's happening is upsetting. The fact that nobody is trying to stop it or nobody is saying we're not going to do this is upsetting. Like, that's what we need. In this industry, is we need people to be like, this isn't efficient, this doesn't work. Like, stop listening to what these fuckers have to say and stick up for the people that are working to make your game work. Like, they're the ones that are fucking cranking it out, putting in the hours, give a shit about them, care about their well-being, care about their family. It's just, I could go on and on about how you should care about people because I feel like it's a hot topic at the moment.
Which
However,
is
I will not.
Really disappointing that is something that even needs to be discussed, right?
Yeah.
Is that show care and decency for your fellow people.
Exactly.
And
to be fair, Animal Crossing was actually ready, and it only got delayed because Nintendo didn't want to implement crunch on developing COVID-19 so that Animal Crossing would sell as well as it had. So
Yeah.
And-
They have to
and
code
look-
all that all that code.
exactly.
Well, shit, I didn't know that. Let me go.
No, look, like, this is a good point. This is a good point. Like, look, we all like Nintendo's my favorite developer, and we all rag on Nintendo, including me, about some of the just absolutely boneheaded decisions they
They've been
make.
killing it though.
But you know what? If you gotta say, you gotta hand it, they care about their people. They truly do. They treat them well. They do not do crunch. They are not willing to sacrifice the well-being of their employees and their developers to get a game out as quickly as possible. They're just not. It's not something they do. They've got a reputation for that. Actually, it's one of the reasons that we've received bite-sized pieces of information about Nintendo games this year. And I know a lot of people, including myself, have been a little frustrated about it. But at the end of the day, it's also a good thing because Nintendo is simply not willing to overwork their people.
Yeah, they're willing to have a light year if it means not.
But I mean, you can. To be fair, you can when you fucking sold as many copies and sell out of your fucking consoles like Nintendo.
Yeah,
has.
that's
right.
Like
that's
you can
true.
afford to take a step back and go, "We're fine. We'll just wait."
I want to know. I want to know what the profit margins on that Mario 3D All Stars collection is because
oh my god,
they
right?
did not invest all that much into those ports, but they are
No.
selling.
And like, isn't it like the second highest selling game of the year now or something?
Something like that.
So the thing is, it's because so I will say that I think if you purely look at Mario 3D All Stars, it's probably not as overwhelmingly like it's good money, but they had to develop 3 brand new emulators for the Switch to run these games. The thing is, they're going to have more than paid off the development of those emulators with this 3D All Stars collection. And then when other games come out, they're going to already have paid for the work, right?
Yeah.
So
Brittany, I think Brittany, you were trying to get a word in a couple seconds ago.
Oh no, I just said the fucking Nintendo. Here I am shit talking Nintendo when I'm wearing a Nintendo.
I know, yeah. Come
But
on, you're not feeling very well. Give us a sponsorship, Nintendo.
Not as
real.
long as I'm on this podcast. They don't like me anymore.
I'd rather have Derek. So we're bumping up against our time here. CJ, dude, it's been a pleasure having you on, man. I really had a good time on Waypoint Set, and I hope you're able to bring that back because I think you've got a unique perspective on things, and you're also just one of the most talented, ridiculously unfairly young content creators
Unfairly young.
on
Sorry,
on the planet. And so, no, I think there are great things ahead for you in this industry. And dude, you're going to do great stuff.
I agree. It was really fun having you on, and I think you did great.
John, that is too. I'm sorry, that's too much. I appreciate it.
No, it's not.
I appreciate it.
It's not too much. Where can people find you, CJ?
So follow me on Twitter at Waypoint Set CJ. More news there, I guess. No, will come. I will say for those who are fans of SDGC, I think our sensibilities are alike in a way more than there's a lot more crossover appeal than you think. I think that's what Zach said when he first came on the show. He was like, yeah, if you like things you would like on SDGC, Waypoint Set has that too.
Yep, absolutely they do. Absolutely. And I am really, and I know we're all really stoked to see what is next for Waypoint Set. So don't don't make us wait too long if you can, because we need more voices like yours out there. And of course, this was Brittany's first episode as a full member of the podcast. And Brittany, you crushed it. Look at you.
I always do. That's why
Nice.
you invited me back.
Nice. Nice. And like, do you guys notice he does that so hard that like his hand, like
He gyrates.
Yeah.
It bounces.
It does. It does. It really does. Derek, don't make that face ever again, please. I don't know. No. Any housekeeping? we do have some housekeeping. Derek, do you want to talk about St. Jude's one more time?
Yeah. So our friends at But Why Though are running a fundraiser for St. Jude Children's Research Hospital. I'm going to throw the link into the chat one more time. If you can either donate to that link, donate to some good charity if you've got the spare funds to do so, which we understand if you do not. All things considered, we do live in a hellscape currently. Share it around, try to drum up some funds for some research into some diseases that affect children that absolutely do not deserve those diseases. On a much lighter note, we are going to be streaming some spoopy games through the month of October. We're going to really kick up the amount of streaming we do because it's a good time of year to do that, and we all need the distractions. So, like, I streamed Alien Isolation today. I'm going to stream some more tomorrow during the day. I'm going to do Thursdays and Fridays. I sure the fuck did, buddy. Alien Isolation. It's a rough one.
It's a scary-ass game.
It really is, yeah.
So,
especially when that motherfucker, like, when you're hiding in a cabinet and, like, you got to stay completely still and he's
nah, fuck that.
Yeah, no, it's
Derek,
up.
Derek, how did your stream end today?
That way. Ended that way. Ended with me getting French kissed unhappily.
There is that game is terrifying.
But yeah, so we'll be streaming some games. We're going to continue to push for that donations for that fundraiser that But Why Though is doing. Next,
and go check them out, by the way.
Yeah, I'll
go check out But Why Though.
And then next week, I want to say we have our guest who we were supposed to have last week. Correct, John? Or have we not totally scheduled yet?
I will. So we haven't totally scheduled, but I'm sure she'd be down. So I will reach out to Sissy and see if she's available for next
We'll
week.
Get her rescheduled though, because I think she totally understands why we took the week off, but we don't want to leave somebody hanging.
She totally does.
Yeah.
She 100% does.
People.
I think that's all we got. One more thing.
No, community game night.
Yeah. Well, things that so community game night is now every week on Fridays at 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And right now it's just a lot of Among Us because that game fucking rules. And I totally played everybody like a fiddle, making them think that it was my first time playing it, and ended up winning the match because I was the killer. And then I tried telling people that Brittany was the fucking killer 3 games in a row. And I tried fucking telling people that.
Know how hard it is to be a killer that many times in a row and come up like just steadily lie for like 30 minutes straight. It's hard. It's not easy, but I did it and I won. So you should play Among Us because I'm very innocent and you will have a great time with me.
And it was like you and Stormy like twice.
Me and Storm, we killed it like, literally every time.
Yeah, like it was
literally.
Anyway,
did kill it.
So they literally killed it. And also, community game night every night at 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time in the SDGC Discord server, which if you're not a member of, you can find the link to at the top of our official Twitter page at official SDGC.
Also there.
And also, please go check out Justin's review of the Kingdoms of Amalur remaster, which is on all major podcast services right now. Justin, thanks for all the hard work you put into that. And I think that's it. That's all we got there.
That's what I got.
That's all it. So
I need to cry myself to sleep as I've been doing every night for the past. How many months has it been since PAX East?
I'm hugging.
Yeah.
I'm camera hugging. I don't know what that was. That was more like
it's fine.
Pat
the ears.
There.
There you go. All right, everybody. We will see you next week. Remember, kindness costs nothing. Take care of each other. Good night.